Our agenda item 8 is economic issues, including a discussion of alternative currency and banking systems, and also issues related to how to engineer economic support for our local, responsibly self-governing communities. This issue is especially focused on economically sustaining our primary grassroots level qualified electors, as they are so economically sustained through each and all of their individual 10 household townships and tithing groups. We hereunder also expect to discuss cutting-edge grassroots empowerment, which is available through responsible and strategic use of the Uniform Commercial Code, and this along with explanations of how securing holder in due course status legitimately and significantly empowers modern activists to discharge debts of any and every sort, and which they might be presumed to be owing to other people, corporations, and or governments. And we've got a document composed incompletely. It's still rough around the edges, but it is web linked there, and it discusses a number of important options there. And again, Michael Zarzano has been influencing our discussions by proposing that we should be targeting a criminal complaint against the Federal Reserve banking monopoly, similar to what we're doing with our coronavirus jury verdict. Such a proposition inherently requires discussion of the alternative economic systems, which are generally being considered in this larger category. And this can be done in manners which minimize and reduce the potential for violence or war, as we're trying to engineer a smooth transition to an alternative form of government without disrespecting or being cold towards any of our honorable people's legitimate economic needs for enough food, clothing, and shelter to survive, to maintain self-sufficiency. There should be a minimal standard of living for everybody that is doing the basic steps necessary to become registered as a qualified elector, and also their entire household. Even if there's just one qualified elector in a household, the entire household would be covered. Some of the details in the PDF document that is web linked there, I'd like to point out that the present local police departments and sheriff's departments that are operating similarly as municipal franchisee police departments, those police departments have people that are on a regular municipal payroll that are administering force within our local communities, and they're routinely administering force in unlawful manners. When we have alternative economic systems based upon the Uniform Commercial Code that gets us away from the Federal Reserve banking system, then we can give a raise in the standard of living to all police officers and sheriff's deputies that are willing to convert to common law jurisdiction peace officers. We can raise their standard of living by 10%. And this should incentivize them to quit enforcing municipal slave trading codes and rather to partake with us in enforcing the peace, keeping the peace, prohibiting breaches of the peace. If there's no breach of the peace officer needs to just kick back and put his boots up as he sits on his front porch, thinking everything's good. Everything's good here. We got peace. My duties are completed. And he don't have to take his feet down off of the bar on his front porch until somebody breaches the peace. And if nobody breaches the peace, then he can have his whole day just not doing nothing because everybody's happy. It's a good thing. And minimal standards of living. See, a lot of this goes to a lot of what's currently going on, what's labeled as riots. And I kind of think I might be getting close to Lewis's heart here, in that a lot of the anger that is percolating up through like the Black Lives Matter movement and the Antifa movement, a lot of it is justified because people are economically disenfranchised. They're angry about being treated like slaves, scrapping, working as hard as they do all the time for just breadcrumbs, while the wealthy are living in grandiose lifestyles. That's evil, and it needs to change. And the alternative economic systems that we're talking about here can quickly and efficiently be promoted amongst Black Lives Matter communities and Antifa communities, because these alternative economic systems will dismantle the economic empires of people like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. Their empires have been gained through unlawful enrichment process. They're obscenely wealthy, and that wealth needs to be distributed down amongst the common people. They can still live very, very high if they comply without a whole lot of opposition to this kind of an agenda. But if they entrench and they participate in criminal racketeering conspiracies like Bill Gates is already guilty of, then all of their estate's going to be taken. And Mr. Gates will be lucky if he doesn't go to jail. And the same with a lot of the other billionaires and stuff. So when we comprehend the Queen of England, the Vatican, that they have so much wealth, there is so much wealth on this planet that can be made available to raise the standard of living of people that are just living hand to mouth, scraping the dirt with their fingernails just to get enough to survive. The level of poverty of the vast majority of people on this earth is obscene. It's terrible. It's a sin against God. And it needs to be righted and corrected. And these alternative economic systems, if we get behind them, I am quite convinced that they can provide very beautiful remedy, economic empowerment, economic security for all of our people. And I'm optimistic that someday soon, if we keep plugging away at these conferences, we're going to secure this type of economic security for our common people. And it'll be a utopian type situation. Everything can be so beautiful in a system, in a governmental structure that has an honorable economic and accounting system.